Welcome to the Story King, where legends are born and destinies unfold. Today's tale will freeze your heart before setting it ablaze. The ruthless Alpha King just found a dying albino omega frozen in the ice. The smell of death hung in the air like a curse. Alpha King Kael Blackthorn had seen many things in his 30 years of ruling the Northern Territories. Wars that painted snow crimson, betrayals that split packs apart, winters so brutal they claimed hundreds of lives. But nothing had prepared him for what his hunting party discovered in the forsaken glacier that morning. "Your Majesty," his beater, Marcus, called out from ahead, his voice cracking with something Kael hadn't heard in years, fear. "You need to see this." Kael dismounted his black stallion, his boots crunching against ice that hadn't seen sunlight in centuries. The wind howled around him like a wounded animal, but he barely felt the cold. Alpha blood ran hot, especially blood as ancient and powerful as his. As he approached the glacial crevasse, his keen eyes caught it, a flash of white against white, so pale it should have been invisible. But there was something else. A scent, faint, barely there, yet it hit him like a physical blow. Omega. His wolf surged forward, slamming against his consciousness with unprecedented urgency. In all his years, Kael had never taken an omega mate. He'd been called ruthless, cold, a king carved from the same ice that dominated his kingdom. He'd rejected every omega presented to him, showing them the same mercy he showed his enemies, none. But this scent, "Break the ice," he commanded, his voice cutting through the storm like a blade. "Now." Marcus hesitated. "My lord, they're already gone." "Look at them," I said. "Now." The Alpha's roar shook loose snow from nearby cliffs. 4 of his strongest wolves began chipping away at the glacial tomb, their pickaxes ringing out in desperate rhythm. As they worked, Kael moved closer, and his breath caught something he'd denied to his dying day. Frozen beneath inches of crystalline ice was the most ethereal creature he'd ever seen. An omega, small and fragile, with hair so white it seemed to glow with its own light. The skin was alabaster, their lips blue, their eyes closed as if in peaceful sleep. They wore nothing but tattered clothes that suggested they'd been running from something, or someone. An albino omega, rare beyond measure, supposedly blessed by the moon goddess herself. "They've been here for days, maybe weeks," Marcus said quietly. "No one could survive." "They're alive," Kael interrupted, his voice strange even to his own ears. "That's impossible." Kael knelt as his men cleared the last of the ice. He pressed his hand against the frozen surface, and his wolf howled with recognition. "There, the heartbeat. Can't you hear it?" Marcus fell silent, his eyes widening. It was there, faint as a whisper, slow as death itself, but present. A heartbeat where none should exist. The moment the omega was freed, Kael caught them before they could fall. The body in his arms was cold as death, lightweight as snow, but that heartbeat, it stuttered against his chest like a caged bird. "Get 'em to my personal chambers," he ordered, already moving toward his horse. "Summon every healer in the territory." And Marcus, his eyes flashed gold with alpha authority. "If anyone speaks of this omega to anyone outside this party, I'll remove their tongue myself." The ride back to Blackthorn Keep was a blur. Kael held the omega against his chest, sharing his body heat, willing his own life force into the dying body. It was madness. He was the ruthless Alpha King. He'd earned that title by crushing anyone who showed weakness, by ruling with an iron fist, by never allowing emotion to cloud his judgment. Yet here he was, cradling a stranger as if they were made of spun glass. Why? His logical mind demanded. "They're no one, nothing, let them die." But his wolf snarled in defiance. "Mine." In his private chambers, Kael laid the omega on his own bed, another act that would shock his court if they knew. The king never shared his space. Ever. The head healer, an elderly woman named Esme, arrived within minutes. Her examination was thorough, but her expression grew grimmer with each passing moment. "Your Majesty," she said carefully, "this omega has been exposed to temperatures that should have killed them instantly. Their core temperature is dangerously low. Their heartbeat is, I've never seen anything like it. It's as if they're caught between life and death, neither fully one nor the other. Can you save them? Kael's voice was sharp. Esme hesitated. I can try, but... Then do it. Use whatever resources you need. I don't care about the cost. The healer's eyebrows rose fractionally. The king, caring about saving a random Omega, but she was wise enough not to comment. She began her work immediately, applying warming stones, herbal compresses, and ancient healing techniques passed down through generations. Hours passed, then days. Kael refused to leave. He cancelled council meetings, ignored his advisors' protests, and sent away the noble alphas who'd come seeking his attention. Instead, he sat beside his bed, watching the Omega's chest rise and fall with those impossibly shallow breaths. He found himself talking to them, though he didn't know why. He told them about the kingdom, about the winter storms, about nothing and everything. It was unlike him. Kael Blackthorn didn't talk, he commanded. On the third night, as silver moonlight spilled through the window, he reached out and carefully brushed a strand of white hair from the Omega's face. The skin was warmer now, no longer ice but merely cold. Who hurt you? He murmured. Who drove you into that glacier? Because that's what had happened, he was certain. Someone had chased this Omega into the forsaken glacier, into that death trap. The tattered clothes, the bare feet, the terror he imagined had been frozen on their face. His wolf growled with possessive rage. When he found whoever was responsible. Your Majesty. Esme's voice interrupted his dark thoughts. She stood in the doorway, her ancient eyes gleaming with something like wonder. Their temperature is rising, slowly, but steadily. I believe they're going to wake soon. Kael's heart, that supposedly frozen, ruthless heart, stuttered. It happened at dawn. The first rays of sunlight touched the Omega's face, and their eyes opened. They were the color of winter itself, pale silver blue, like ice reflecting sky. For a moment, those eyes were unfocused, confused. Then they landed on Kael, and the Omega jerked back with a sharp gasp. Don't, they rasped, their voice broken from disuse. Please don't. You're safe, Kael said, his voice gentler than he'd ever heard it. No one will hurt you here. The Omega stared at him, trembling. You're an alpha. I am. He stayed very still, recognizing prey behavior when he saw it. This Omega had been hunted. I'm King Kael Blackthorn. You're in my keep, in my personal chambers. You've been unconscious for 3 days. 3 days. Those ethereal eyes widened. I was in the ice. I was dying. I felt it, the cold taking me. I thought, you nearly did die, Kael admitted. What's your name? The Omega hesitated, and Kael could see the calculation behind their eyes, how much to trust, how much to reveal. Finally, they whispered, Aria. Aria, he repeated, and his wolf purred at the sound. Who did this to you? Who chased you into the forsaken glacier? Immediately, terror flashed across Aria's face. They tried to scramble away, hindered by their weakened state. I can't tell you. They'll kill me. They'll kill anyone who helps me. Please, you don't understand. Then help me understand. Kael moved closer, slowly, carefully. I am the Alpha King of the Northern Territories. There is no one in this land who can threaten what's under my protection. You don't know them, Aria whispered, tears forming in those impossible eyes. They're powerful. Are they more powerful than me? The words came out as a growl, his alpha dominance bleeding through. Aria fell silent, studying him with those haunting eyes. Why? They finally asked. Why would you protect me? You don't even know me. I'm nothing. I'm nobody. I'm just an albino Omega that everyone calls cursed. Something in Kael's chest cracked. You're not nothing, he said quietly. And you're not cursed. You're... He paused, surprised by his own words. You're mine to protect now. Yours. Mine, he confirmed, his voice absolute. And I protect what's mine. For the first time since waking, Aria's expression softened slightly. They looked at him, really looked, and Kael wondered what they saw. A ruthless king, a monster, or something else. I don't understand you, Aria murmured. Every alpha I've ever known has been cruel. They've wanted to use me, break me, sell me because of what I am. But you're different. Perhaps, Kael allowed, or perhaps I'm the worst of them all, and you simply haven't discovered it yet. But even as he said it, he knew it wasn't true. Something had shifted the moment he'd caught Aria's scent in that ice. His wolf had claimed them instantly, irrevocably. And while Kael Blackthorn might be ruthless, might be cold, might be called a monster by his enemies, he'd never harm what belonged to him. Rest, he said, standing. You're still weak. When you're stronger, we'll talk more. And Aria, he caught the gaze with his. You're safe here, that's a promise from your king. As he turned to leave, Aria's soft voice stopped him. Thank you, for pulling me from the ice. Kael looked back, and for the first time in years, something like a smile touched his lips. Thank you for surviving. That's all for today from the Story King. Hit subscribe to discover what happens when a ruthless heart begins to thaw, and a dying Omega learns that sometimes, the most dangerous predator makes the fiercest protector. Your next epic tale awaits.